Welcome everyone to this thought-provoking video essay delving into the poignant theme of the agony faced by an over-responsible son in the movie. Today we'll talk about that day. Through the journey of our protagonist, Angkasa will explore the psychological intricacies of his burden, the intricate web of toxic parenting, and the journey of liberation. The authentic quote from Angkasa, "The reason that I moved to Bali was because I could stay away from you and mom," served as our entry point into the complex world he lives in. It sums up the conflict that arises from his struggle against verbal abuse, stifling expectations, and submissions. The journey through his story will unravel these layers and offer insights into the effects of our over-responsibility and the search for autonomy. Ankasa's childhood was marked by an unfair responsibility placed upon his shoulders. The weight of his mother's emotional stability and his father's directives shaped his role as a caregiver to his younger sisters. His tender years were consumed by the need to ensure their safety at the expense of his own innocence and playfulness. A series of parental comments like, "Take care of your sisters to make them feel safe," revealed a star-crossed refusal, with Angkasa transformed into a surrogate parent rather than a carefree child. His father's expectations were a double-edged sword, molding him into a responsible young man but simultaneously robbing him of his right to a carefree childhood.
Angkasa kan sekarang punya 2 adik, Aurora dan
Awan.
Angkasa tahu nggak tugas seorang kakak itu apa? Tugas seorang kakak untuk menjaga adik-adiknya.
We witnessed his outdoor activities like biking, where even leisure was involved in responsibility. He became not just a sibling but a guardian, navigating a realm of responsibilities that belonged to his parents. The tragic bicycle accident, followed by his father's unjust blame, exemplified the isolations he felt and the weight he carried. The emotional neglect he endured while attending to others left its mark. Angkasa suppressed his own feelings, molding himself into a mini-adult to cope with his isolation and lack he experienced. His significance was subsumed by his role as a caretaker, and his identity was eclipsed by the demands placed upon him. As Angkasa grew, so did layers of submission to his father's expectations. The concept of submissions or capitulation, as elucidated by Susan Forward in her work Toxic Parents, aptly characterizes his journey. The submission was not a single act, but a combination of phases, each adding to the weight of his emotional burden. Susan Forward's insights into toxic parenting shed light on the mechanism at play. Ankasa's submission was a subtle yet insidious response to his father's manipulation and control. He internalized the belief that his worth was contingent upon fulfilling the role assigned to him. The transition from childhood to adulthood did not liberate him from this role. Despite his sister's growth and independence, he remained bound by his father's expectations, picking her up from work and even making transcontinental flights to maintain familial connections. His work became both an escape and an extension of these submissions. He sought to prove his worth through ceaseless effort and endeavor, fueled by the relentless pursuit of validation he had learned early on. His work-centric identity masked his suppressed resentment and allowed the illusions of competence to persist. In relationships, the submission pattern reappeared, this time impacting his romantic life. His inability to set boundaries and prioritize his needs led to strained connections. The cause of his childhood submissions manifested as a compulsion to please, driven by the fear of rejections and abandonment. The roots of his submissions were deep, woven into the fabric of his identity. Breaking free from these patterns required a seismic shift in his perspective, a journey towards recognizing his inherent worthiness and embracing autonomy. The consequences of Angkasa burdens and submission reverberate through various facets of his life, reflecting the complexity of his emotional landscape. His attitude takes on multifaceted dimensions, encompassing rebellion, emotional explosion, and physical symptoms. Angkasa's rebellion, initially seemingly liberating, is rooted in the very submission he seeks to escape. As he combats parental control, he inadvertently perpetuates the cycle of being controlled, unable to break free from the grip of toxic dynamics. Repetition compulsion, a phenomenon described by psychologists, unwind Angkasa in familiar pain. His inability to resolve past traumas leads him to repeatedly seek out scenarios reminiscent of his childhood struggles. Confrontation becomes a manifestation of his unresolved emotions. His workaholic tendencies and self-imposed over-responsibility define his relationships. He becomes absorbed by his personal life, leaving little room for emotional connections and intimacy. His partners feel neglected and his emotional unavailability deepens their frustrations. His emotional suppression reaches a breaking point with a panic attack, a physical manifestation of his unaddressed inner turmoil. Even in this crisis, he struggles to relinquish control, refusing to heed advice and prioritize his well-being over external demands. His minimal impulse control finds expression in impatience and tendency to resolve conflicts through aggression. Instances of physical confrontation further illustrate his struggle to navigate emotions and situations that trigger his suppressed anger. Angkasa's journey of embracing change and healing is emblematic of a universal pursuit, breaking free from the chains of toxic patterns. His evolution from an over-responsible son to a person seeking independence teaches us that healing is possible when we confront our past and embrace transformation. As Angkasa discovers his true self, he takes courageous steps towards authenticity. He learns that embracing change requires confronting pain, acknowledging his worthiness, and daring to challenge the narratives that have constrained him for so long. Relationships, once strained by his submission and emotional struggles, start to shift. He nurtures connections based on mutual understanding and empathy, freeing himself from the perpetual cycle of control and defiance. The choice to break free from the toxic patterns handed down through generations is a powerful act of self-love. Angkasa's story serves as a reminder that our past need not define our present or dictate our future. Angkasa's story is a reflection of the intricate relationship between culture and parenting norms. As we could see, Indonesia's societal expectations and traditional values often shape these dynamics, influencing the roles and responsibilities assigned to children within families. The cultural pressure to present a facade of perfect parenting can lead to toxic patterns. Parents striving for societal approval might accidentally perpetuate harmful dynamics, inadvertently affecting their children's well-being. As we draw this exploration to a close, Angkasa's narrative reminds us that the path of healing and independence is both challenging and liberating. Through confronting toxic patterns, nurturing authenticity, and embracing change, we pave the way for healthier relationships and personal well-being. The quote, "The reason that I moved to Bali was because I could stay away from you and mom." This quote encapsulates the struggle of countless individuals caught in the crosshairs of toxic parenting. But through understanding, awareness, and resilience, we can forge a different path. Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey through the agony of a responsible son. Thank you.